Hi there, welcome back to One Wingspan Above. Today we're going to look at the latest video that Regent brought out of their full-scale prototype of their Seaglider called the Paladin. I'll scroll through the video and talk at the same time, see if we can find anything that's interesting in the video that we can spot. This is where it starts. It shows you the engines, or the motors in this case. It seems that they are mounted on long pylons. The electrical cable is still exposed on the outside, but obviously it's a prototype. Lots of blades, very nice and shiny. That's one of the floats. I can see it's painted orange on the bottom, obviously. No shine on that one. So we're spraying quite a bit probably once it takes off. That's a view of one side of the prototype with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in view, 6 motors in view. Very nice. Here you can see the underside of the wing. Obviously the prototype is still in the hangar. You can see that the access hatches haven't been closed off yet. Those are the access hatches. You can see the motors are attached to some pylons and stick out quite a fair bit. That is probably to get the airflow around the wing, over the wing, around the wing properly done. You can also see here there's bits missing of the back of the wing. The flaps are missing, the ailerons are missing. They're probably not even ailerons. If they are probably not even ailerons on that side. I'm not sure if they use ailerons. Ailerons are basically used to tip a wingtip up and down to turn. In this case, you wouldn't need it for the Regent Seaglider because they're in ground effect, so close to the ground, so you don't really want to tip a wing up and down. But they might use it anyway. I can see the flaps are missing that they're probably going to use to deflect a motor, the prop wash over those flaps down to aid in takeoff. Let's have a look. This is the tail, and here as well all the aerodynamic control surfaces are missing at the moment. Obviously this prototype is only a prototype to test the floating of the aircraft, not the foiling or the flying, so it doesn't actually need any of those aerodynamic control surfaces. So there's something missing here at the side. There wouldn't be in the middle, wouldn't be one there, and maybe some flaps on the top and the bottom to control pitch or something similar. You can see there's bits on the top uncovered as well. There's a access panel removed. Once we get to the rest of the video, see that's all covered up nicely. That's the other side. That's one of the floats on the side. Here you see as well there's bits uncovered. If we go through the rest of the video, you'll see actually that this bit on the front is covered up nicely with a white cover. The back though is, I believe we'll have to have a check, is not covered yet, because obviously the flaps and all the aerodynamic surfaces, the moving surfaces, still need to be attached. That's the front. There's a little bit of a chine there to make sure that all the spray stops there, and it doesn't, maybe it doesn't, you know, it's so obviously there's a chine there. It probably is to make sure the spray doesn't cover the windscreen where the pilot sits, I'm guessing. You'll see here there's a space for the hydrofoil. There's no hydrofoil attached just yet. This is purely a floating prototype to see if it floats, see how it handles on the water. Let's go forward a little bit. That's the front view. You see a couple of props. You see the tail. Very deep keel in this sense. very deep. The chine is visible there. And you'll notice later on there's actually no steps on the hull, but it doesn't need to because it pushes up the craft with its foils rather than with its hull. This is the back view. You can see that's all closed up. But this is actually the space where the back foil will actually sit in and go up and down. Here you see the control surfaces missing in the back. That would be installed later, probably not now because they're just testing on the water. Let's move forward. Yep, that's where you see the side view. Let's have a look. So you see here there's actually a bit missing here, which is kind of the area where the hydrofoil in the back will sit in when it pops up, when it's actually taken off from the water. The hydrofoil will move up into that position, it will go away. You see that the hull on this side is completely flat, there's no steps in there. A normal seaplane that flies with no hydrofoils and it takes off from the water would actually have steps in there to make sure it actually takes off from the water. So it goes into planing and it takes off from planing easier. Obviously this aircraft or this Seaglider doesn't have steps because it has those foils in the back and the front to get it out of the water. Okay, let's scroll it forward a little bit. That's a nice view of when the airplane or Seaglider, let's call it Seaglider, is actually outside. You'll notice that all those holes, those access hatches are closed. It's actually looking very nice and shiny. I can't see here the cables exposed. That might be on the other side of the pylons. Yeah, very nice. That's the access door on the back where you get in and out. And you'll see later on that it's nicely aligned with the dock where it will dock on. Let's forward that one. So in here you'll see where we saw on the wing there was actually a bit missing in the front. This is nicely covered as well with a cover joint of some sort. On the back it's still not covered because this bit will actually come later probably. I'm not sure how far the control surface will actually go. I'm assuming actually it stops right there before it curves down, and this though will leave this way. We'll see how that turns out. Nice view from the bottom. Yeah, nothing else to see really. Let's have a look. Nice big windscreens. Let's move back a little bit. So here you see a bit of the road marking or the road safety wall is poking through here. So you can see this hole here where the foil would be once it's installed. Obviously they're not installing it now, just for make sure that it actually floats properly and it handles on the water properly. Okay, this is more of the back. You can see the back door seems to be out of two parts, bottom bit, top bit. I think that's quite common actually. Let's have a look. So yeah, so this bit here on the wingtip is not actually closed, no control surfaces. It's interesting that this bit of the wingtip that goes down is actually longer than the wing, even with the control surfaces on it. It might actually be slightly longer. We'll see in the next few weeks if we can get some more footage. Right, here they're christening their Paladin. They christen it Paladin. So all the names like Viceroy, Regent, Paladin seem to be names that are kings and royalty and those kind of things. So it's all in the same vein. Let's have a look. Here the Seaglider is actually in the water. Sits right next to the dock. You can see the door in the back. The interesting thing is the wing just kind of pokes all the way over the dock and the float sits on the other side of the dock. Obviously if you have any higher poles in the dock, that wouldn't work. but obviously the dock is quite low, so it's like a normal boat, but with a bit poking out and the float on the other side. Works really well, I think. See the big crane in the back that they use to put it into the water. You got two people in the front, pilot and co-pilot. I'm assuming. Let's go through a little bit more. Right, yep. Here you see the cockpits, or the bridge, I guess you can call it, if it's a boat. I'm not sure what to call it in terms of a Seaglider. I'm thinking it looks more like a cockpit to me because of all the instruments. So it seems that on the left hand side there's all the bits and pieces there. There seem to be two handles in here that I can't really zoom in too much. My quality of the video is too low to make out what it is. I'm assuming it has to do something with the power to the motors, and probably maybe even control of the hydrofoils, of whether or not they are down or up. They probably have to kind of come up with a good way to control the hydrofoils, maybe automatically. You don't want the hydrofoils to be down at any moment where the Seaglider is going really fast and can touch the water, because that would be devastating to the aircraft, and it will decompose little bits. You can see here that's a separate screen on the right, and this gentleman on the right will have, I think it's a tablet on his lap. I'm assuming then the captain or the pilot sits on the left with all the bits and pieces here. I'm assuming there's some kind of yoke or joystick in the front that might control maybe even up and down. I would say if it's a boat, it's probably left and right, and that's about it. Left and right, power, and that should be it really, if you want to fly this like a boat. Right, amazing view out of the cockpit, obviously, because the windows wrap all the way around. Very nice. All right, so this is a view from the window. You can see here out of the window next to the pylons, the cables are still visible on the outside. I'm assuming at some stage when this is a production vehicle, they will nicely work that away inside the pylon. There might be some covers over it, I'm assuming. Let's have a look. You can see nicely that there's no control surfaces on this side. That's all space there to have the control surfaces. Cables on the inside still bare. Obviously it's a prototype, or pre-production, so you would kind of expect that kind of stuff to still show. You can still see some bits and pieces in here. I'm not sure what that is. Some bits to do with instrumentation, I'd say. Right, so you can see just about everything here. You can see how the float sits in the water at the moment. It's not going very fast, so this is probably unladen. This is probably as low as it goes, I'm assuming. Right, it goes forward quite nicely. All the props are actually going at the moment. That's the outside of the craft. It's bobbing along. They've got the door open in the back. They don't seem to have the motors on at the moment. They're just bobbing along for a nice shot. The next one is where they actually are putting a little bit of speed in it. Right there. Obviously not too much speed, enough speed to float and make sure they know how the craft handles in the water. So back view of the craft, just floating at the moment with the props on, and then this is a front view of the Seaglider. The props on, going really nicely, going around the corner. Look at that. I didn't see a rudder in the back, so I'm assuming it's actually turning by making sure the power to the different sides of the wing the propellers, actually different differential power distribution. So maybe they don't actually plan to have a rudder in there. I didn't see one. Maybe there's one installed. Maybe they don't need one at this stage. That's probably to come out of this testing here. Yeah, not too much you can say here. It looks nice. Floats nice. Bobs along. It's not going too fast, so there shouldn't be any issues. This is bobbing along and as well. You can see here Paladin on the left hand side of the craft. You've got your navigation lights, a red for the left, and then there would be another one on the right hand side, like a boat, really. Very nice looking craft, I must say. That's a nice group photo of everyone involved, probably. Yeah, so overall it looks really nice and nothing out of the ordinary. Obviously they are just testing how the craft floats at the moment and seeing what they need to change, maybe perhaps. And I'm assuming, let's go back a little bit and show you the craft going with the propellers on. I'm assuming that if this floating goes really well, they might attach they might go a little bit faster. See how that goes without the hydrofoils. And once that goes really well, they might maybe attach some hydrofoils. Once you put some hydrofoils on, they might actually put the control surfaces on the wings, just to make sure that everything is working properly. I'm assuming that the control surfaces in the back work in tandem with the hydrofoils in the front. I'm also assuming they want to test out if the flaps in the back of the wing actually work to divert the flow of all those props in the front properly downwards, so they have a little bit of help from those motors to take off. Be quite nice to see. Yeah. So all in all, a very nice looking craft there. It all looks like the last pictures we've seen of what the craft should look like. Not too many surprises there. An amazing tail. It's based on the Formula One tails that you see, or yeah, and it's like the boxy tail. They put it on because in the prototype, in the quarter scale prototype, there was a bigger tail on there, and it was wind vaning a little bit too much, so it was poking its nose into the wind. So now they've replaced it with essentially a smaller surface on the side, but still the same surface to control the aircraft. So which should take care of the wind vaning, so kind of putting the nose of the craft into the winds when you don't want it to. So yeah, all looks very, very nice. Hopefully the testing is going to be successful, so they can move on maybe with the high speed testing and putting the hydrofoils on, those kind of things, and maybe even flying as well. Or would we call it flying? We're probably skimming, right? Skimming is the term that I use. They probably use something like gliding or sea gliding, because they call their craft the Seagliders. Let's hope everything goes okay. And we'll look forward to seeing some more footage of this craft. Excellent work, Regent. Well done.